Yeah, you can if you want. Good evening. Just a couple introductions, just briefly before we get started. First of all, welcome to tonight's commencement program for the class of 2021. To my right, to my left, I'm honored to introduce our board members tonight. To my right, to the far left is Director Amanda Otto, Director Nick Oosper, Director Angie Reichman, former Director Diane Meyer, Clerk Jeff Holberg, Treasurer Ted Wright, and I have our high school counselor Britt Rose and our high school principal Mr. Meisner. Tonight we're honored to have you. My name is Chip Rankin. I'm the superintendent. I've been gone the last 12 months deployed to Africa for the United States Army, so it's an honor for me to be here tonight also. This is our first graduation tonight outside. We just want to go through a few details. Our teachers will be lining up here shortly. Our graduates will be coming through the far right gate. They'll be coming through here shortly. We'll be rising as the band starts to play Pomp and Circumstance. We'll remain standing for the national anthem, and then we'll be seated as we prepare for the welcome. At this time, I'd just like to take a moment to thank all of our teachers coming in for all the hard work. This year's been a little tough with COVID. Obviously, we've all gotten through it, and it's so nice to see all your faces. So please join me in a round of applause for all of our teachers. Without any further ado, I would ask you to please rise as the band plays Pomp and Circumstance under the direction of Mrs. Heidi Polzine. Thank you. give them a round of applause. At this time, minus our graduates, I'd ask you to please face to the south to the Veterans Plaza, remove your hats for the playing of our national anthem. Please be seated.
Good evening and welcome to the 2021 Minnewaska Area High School Commencement Ceremony. My name is Sydney Hagan and I am the senior class president this year. It's hard to believe the day has finally come where we all can gather together to celebrate one of the greatest accomplishments of all. Just 13 short years ago, we were entering our very first days of school. And now, after seeing so many of your mother's Facebook graduation posts, it's finally setting in for real. This year was like no other, and to be able to gather together today is a celebration of its own. It truly is our class's resiliency and leadership that has shown through despite all we have been through this year, and what sets us apart from any other class before. Family, friends, and guests, thank you all for joining us in our celebration and for helping us reach this huge milestone. Before we get started, I'd like to thank a few people for bringing this evening together. First, a huge thank you to Corey Curry and the custodial staff. As you can imagine, it's not easy hauling folding chairs out to the football field, along with plenty of other preparation that went on behind the scenes. So thank you for all that you do. To Minnewaska teachers and staff, I think Linda Hoffman puts it best when she famously says, "It takes a village," and that it did with our funky bunch. Thank you for continuing to push us to the best of our abilities and throwing some fun in along the way too. To Kelly Blake and Terry Richards, from confusing attendance schedules to lost lunch cards, you two truly do it all and manage to always have a smile on your faces whenever we visit the office. Thank you for your organizational talents and positive light you bring to our school. Last but certainly not least, to all the parents, grandparents, and honored guests that join us this evening, thank you for being the role models and influential leaders that helped us get to where we are sitting today. So, without further ado, I'd like to invite the senior class advisor, Mrs. Rose, to introduce the special music provided for us this evening.
Mrs. Polzine asks that someone read the following as it's ever so fitting for this last year. The Minnewaska Concert Band will be playing Relentless by Randall Standridge. The composer wrote this about the piece. Relentless was inspired by the belief that we all have the inner strength to be, in our own way, unstoppable if we choose to be. Inside all of us is a pool of energy, determination, and drive that we can utilize to overcome any obstacle or hardship that we may encounter. We must all be relentless in the pursuit of our dreams and convictions. Here is the Minnewaska Area Concert Band under the direction of Mrs. Heidi Polzine with Relentless.
Test, test. Good evening, everyone. For those of you who do not know, I'm Josh Curry, and tonight I would like to welcome you all to the graduation ceremony of the Minnewaska area class of 2021. Firstly, I would like to thank everyone who helped get this class to where we are. Parents, grandparents, siblings, faculty, staff, teachers, alumni, and most importantly, fellow graduates. This year has been, without a doubt, memorable, to say the least. In the words of 2020 graduate Jackson Meyer, don't limit your challenges, challenge your limits. That statement has been true from the minute we stepped foot in kindergarten, the second high school began, and especially now, as we finish out our senior year. If you had told me 5 years ago, scratch that 15 months ago, that our education would take a turn more challenging than learning the fundamental theorem of calculus, I would have called you crazy. But here we are after one crazy year. In the past 9 months, we have endured the joys of hybrid learning, fully distance learning, back to hybrid learning, to finally being in person, to suddenly being sent home again. This back and forth process of learning scenarios has personally taught me 3 things. 1, I actually began to miss school food. Seeing as I actually had to make my own meals in between classes. 2, some teachers are not geared for digital learning. I'm talking about you, Mr. Hill. And finally, this year has shown not only me, but everyone in our community that we are one of the most hardworking and resilient classes this school has ever seen. Before we go on, let's just take a couple of moments to think about how far we have come. Remember your first day of kindergarten, where you didn't want to leave your parents' sight. Now we can't get far enough away. The first time we had to go to different classrooms for different classes. If you ask me, that was more confusing than attempting to map the circulatory system in anatomy and physiology. The sadness when you forgot your permission slip for a field trip, and the excitement of seeing the final countdown for our last days of school. When you stepped out onto the field, court, stage, or classroom for the last time to represent the best that Minnewaska had to offer. In the next few minutes, look back at everything we accomplished during our time here. We faced challenges unlike any past class, from going weeks to months without seeing some of our classmates. Some of the worst cases of senioritis this world has ever seen, and of course, the challenge of stable internet. Especially when you had 4 people in the same house, all on Zoom calls. It seems like both yesterday and forever that we were sent home over a year ago. When we came back, we didn't recognize each other, seeing as that half of our face was covered. For some of us, we look better with the mask on. In the words of Mr. Hill, everyone is attractive from here to here. But without obstacles like this, there is no goal. But as I stand here before you all today, by the looks of it, we have all achieved our goal. Now is the best part. We get to create a new goal. For some, it is to go out and make money in the workforce. Others choose to serve for our country in the military. And for all you crazy people out there, it is to go back to school and go into way too much debt. But goals and achievements don't just stop here. They carry on into each of our adult lives. And when the time comes, you must remember where you came from. As seniors, we have worked our way to becoming the big fish in the pond we know as high school. Young kids look up to us as role models. As students, athletes, musicians, and artists they want to be in the future. But as we step into our adult lives, we will no longer be at the top. We will be fish in a much larger pond, also known as a lake. But part of becoming adults is that more opportunities will be presented to us. And ultimately, it is up to ourselves to make the best of it. As you leave here today and get ready for all the grad parties, hugs from grandma, and way, way, way too many pictures, I want you all to remember this, that we were seniors. We are Lakers. We are the class of 2021. Thank you.
Tonight I have the distinct honor of recognizing two outstanding academically gifted students tonight. Our first student will be our salutatorian who has 1 A- in his entire high school career. And at this time, I'd like to invite to the stage to be recognized Connor Johnson. And this year's Minnewaska Area High School class of 2021 valedictorian did perfect straight A's throughout her entire high school career, and also our class president, Ms. Sydney Hagan. I'd like to invite Jason to the stage.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jace Lindeman, and I've had the privilege of serving as the Senior Class Vice President this year. I'm up here tonight to announce the 2021 Most Inspirational Teacher Award. We're blessed at Minnewaska to have outstanding and encouraging faculty and staff across the board, many of whom were nominated for this award by students from the senior class. Although one was ultimately chosen, I hope all of the teachers know how much we appreciate their support throughout the years. My classmates shared the following in their nominations regarding this year's recipe. He has pushed every single student he has taught to be the best they can be and cares for all of his students. This year was probably the hardest on him in his class. He always has a good attitude and is very patient with everyone. He has so many stories and so much wisdom he shares with us. And lastly, he brings out the best in everybody that is in choir and outside of it. He inspired me to sing out and helped me to be successful in the MMEA All-State Men's Choir. Words such as encouragement, perseverance, help, and gratitude were used throughout the nominations. It's my honor to award Mr. Moeller with the 2021 Most Inspirational Teacher Award.
Jordy, I've never known you to shy away from the microphone. Do you have a quick little speech? Thank you, Mr. Mueller. At this time, I'd like to invite our seniors for a live recording of Mr. Mueller. Don't Stop Me Now.
Good evening. Fun fact for you, before I was a math teacher, or while I was a math teacher, but on leave, I had the honor and privilege to be a daycare mom and mom to 4 of these graduates sitting here tonight. So it's my pleasure to read a children's excerpt from All the Places You'll Go. Avery Hooper, Ty Walsh, Mitchell Gruber, and Jacob Swalla. Hopefully it sounds the same. Congratulations. Today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know. And you are the guy who'll decide where to go. You'll look up and down streets, look them over with care. About some you will say, I don't choose to go there. With your head full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down any not so good street. And you may not find any you'll want to go down. In that case, of course, you'll head straight out of town. It's opener there in the wide open air. Out there things can happen, and frequently do, to people as brainy and footsie as you. And when things start to happen, don't worry, don't stew, just go right along. You'll start happening too. Oh, the places you'll go. You'll be on your way up, you'll be seeing great sights. You'll join the high flyers who soar to high heights. You won't lag behind because you'll have the speed. You'll pass the whole gang and you'll soon take the lead. Wherever you fly, you'll be the best of the best. Wherever you go, you will top all the rest. Except when you don't, because sometimes you won't. You'll get mixed up, of course. As you already know, you'll get mixed up. So be sure when you step with care and great tact. And remember that life's a great balancing act. Just never forget to be dexterous and deft, and never mix up your right foot with your left. And will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. 98.75% guaranteed. Kid, you'll move mountains. So, be your name Buxton, or Bixby, or Bray, or Mordecai Alley, Van Allen, O'Shea. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting. So get on your way.
My name is Connor Johnsrud, and I am the treasurer of the class of 2021. It is my pleasure to introduce this year's teacher retirees. These individuals have dedicated their lives to Minnewaska service and efforts for many years. As I say your name, could you please come on the stage? First retiree is Mr. Jeff Mensing. Mr. Mensing has taught K through 6 elementary physical education for 35 years. All of those years are spent in the Glenwood and Minnewaska district. He also coached football, baseball, volleyball, and girls basketball. Mr. Mensing is unable to attend tonight due to prior commitments. Mr. Steve Hoffman is our second retiree. Mr. Hoffman has been a teacher in this district for 37 years. Throughout those years, he has taught 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. tenure as a head girls softball coach is very successful as he was inducted into the Minnesota Softball Coaches Hall of Fame recently. Our final retiree is Mrs. Nancy Hoffman. Mrs. Hoffman has taught for 35 years. She started teaching 3rd grade in Villard, but when enrollment went down, she taught many different levels. She taught 2nd and 3rd grade together, and a few years later, she taught 2nd grade in the morning, and kindergarten 1st and 2nd grade in the afternoon. Since then, she has spent the past 16 years teaching kindergarten at Minnewaska Elementary. Mrs. Hoffman also used to be a tennis coach. During retirement, the Hoffmans want to spend time with their families. They also want to keep busy by doing outdoor activities like gardening, boating, hiking, mowing, and snowshoeing. Mrs. Hoffman plans to work part-time in preschool next fall. These teachers have impacted countless number of lives over the years. Their experience and their talents will be extremely hard to replace. We wish all of them a happy retirement as they move on to the next chapter of their lives.
Minnewaska Area High School Class of 2021. In a moment, you will be called up to the stage and receive your diploma. A signed diploma ensures that each student has met all the requirements set forth by the Minnewaska Area School District 2149 Board of Education and Minnesota Department of Education. I hereby certify that these students have completed all academic requirements and are entitled to receive their diplomas. I welcome Ms. Britt Rose, our guidance counselor, to present the class.
You're welcome to come forward and take pictures as your graduate crosses the stage. As I call your name, please come up to the stage. Receive your diploma. Don't open your eyes. Darian Alexander. Jack Anderson. Abigail Barsmith. Marissa Bart. Franklin Byer. Alexis Bowles. Brooklyn Brotzel. Joshua Curry. Damien Duvier. Rebecca Dusing. Marissa Eklund. Allie Fenright. Kristen Glover.
Yeah, Kristen!
Preston Gregory. Mitchell Gruber. Noah Gilsine. Sydney Hagan. Owen Hansen. Cole Harsty. Henry Hauser. Jada Hess. Samuel Hested. Avery Hoper. Brady Hoffman. Ella Holtberg. Matea Jurgensen. Riley Johnson. Connor Johnsrud. Peyton Johnsrud. Maisie Jordan. Avery Jurgensen. Lexus Clinton. Dylan Kubski. Ashley Cry. Julia Keeney. Stephanie Langman. Blake Larson.
Yeah, Blake!
Megan Larson.
Yeah, Megan!
Ethan Levitt. Dane Lent. Jade Lent. David Lilienthal.
Go, David! Way to go, David!
Jace Lindemann. Dane Madsen.
Go, Dave!
Michaela Martin. Jacob Matt. Mason McGinty. Ashley McFarland. Abby Melgren. Olivia Mello. Riley Metz. Bo Meyer. Tyson Meyer. Tiana Moore Peltier. Zachary Morton. Haley Merkin. Haley Merkin. Adam Meislicki. Britta Nelson. Connor Nestor. Tanner Nestor. Brandon Ortendal. Isabella Ortendal. McKenna Panitsky. Michael Peabody. Dustin Peters. Faith Kabuda. Annika Rand. Maxwell Reichman. Zachary Ross. Bailey Schoen. Michaela Schrader. Colby Sorensen.
Let's go, Kobe!
Jackson Stadsvold. Annika Stensrud. Jared Strickler. Jacob Swalla. Ryan Van Leeuwen. Aaron Versteg. Ty Walsh. Catherine Wood. Wyatt Seahammer.
Graduates, as you now sit here, having completed all the necessary graduation requirements and with your diploma in your hand, I now ask you to take your tassel from your right side to your left side of your cap. At this moment, I will ask Jesselyn Marshall, please come on up to the podium.
Good evening, Minnewaska! And again, welcome to the graduation ceremony of the Minnewaska class of 2021. In case you didn't get that last reference, and it wasn't great, but it was kind of like Robin Williams, good morning, Vietnam. Yeah, we'll throw that, something like that. All right, anyway, how are we doing? Scared, excited, nervous. Yeah, I can just about imagine. This is a big deal. Anywho, for those of you who may not know me, my name is Jesselyn Marshall, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to speak to you tonight. First, on behalf of the whole senior class, I would like to thank all of the parents, family, and friends for their constant love and support, as well as give a thanks to the members of the Minnewaska area faculty and staff for their guidance and fortitude over the years. We truly owe you all that we are. There's no question that high school has been an unforgettable experience that went by way too fast, just like our parents said it did. When I was getting ready to write this speech, to be honest, I put it off big time. Not because I'm afraid to cry in front of you all, which may still happen, or because if I mess something up, my class will never let me write it down. No, I put it off because I can't believe that the day we have all been waiting for is already here. The day that we all worked so hard for. The day we finally say goodbye to the 4 long years spent at Minnewaska Area High School. Now I know I said I may cry, and this applies to all of you as well, but Mr. Song says push those feelings down, or at least for a little bit. This last year has been trying, from attempting to learn in a quarantine, to missing out on the traditional senior things that we all look forward to, and to basically having our whole world turned upside down. To say the least, let's not do that again. However, I will say that this bump in the road allowed for a great deal of time to think. Most importantly, coming to the conclusion that life is filled with nothing but moments. The fight you had with your best friend is just a moment. The The time you were up all night finishing a project is just a moment. The night you watched the sunset with the boy or girl you really liked is just a moment. The last home game you played and sadly lost is just a moment. The road trip you spent with your friends singing along to throwbacks is just a moment. Every up and down and everything in between is just a moment that passes as time moves on. You may remember these moments, and you may not, but what you will remember are the people you spent them with and the way you felt. The way she made you laugh, the way he made you cry, and the way they made you feel like you were on top of the world when you were nowhere but with your best friends. Speaking of best friends, I wish someone would have warned us that oddly enough, saying goodbye to them isn't the hardest part. Because, let's be honest, it's not goodbye, not yet anyway. Still have the whole summer, am I right? The hardest part, did I hear it, I guess? You know, Jacob, you just gotta take it all in, okay? Take it in. Anyway, the hardest part is coming to terms with the fact that we will never see that little kid in the hallway with the crazy socks that made you double take. Or never getting to say good morning to your favorite teacher on your way to class. And never getting to talk to the people you never talked to and never will. All of these moments and feelings and people combine to make up a bigger moment that we call life. In all of eternity, our life is just a moment. It's crazy how all of these things were in the background of our lives these past years, and now will cease to be a part of it. So with all of my heart, I hope that each one of you have cherished those moments, because no matter how much you may want to, you can't go back to high school. We are now moving on to the next chapter of our lives, and I won't lie, it's scary and it will be tough. We all think that we know everything and that we are ready for it all. But there is so much that we haven't learned or experienced yet. There's things even our own parents don't know yet. I know mine always say they're still growing up, so there's that. On the topic of growing up, since kindergarten, we have been asked what we want to be when we grow up. Most of us thought we had it figured out, right? How about now? Do you honestly know the exact path that you'll take for your future? Probably not, and that's okay. You can set goals for yourself, but you can't plan the future. Life throws curveballs all of the time. I mean, take for example this last year. If we lived according to plan, we can all agree that we would have had, as the kids say these days, the most bussin' senior year ever. But fortunately, we took what we could get. We took our sports games without an audience to cheer on our victories. We took not being able to be in person at school. We took our almost didn't happen prom, and we took the last few days of this year to be as a class one last time. We took all of the moments and memories we could have possibly taken, and because of that, we are stronger for learning to be grateful for what we were given. Now, we just have to hope for the best, live in the moment, and expect the unexpected, because things won't always go as planned. And we must remember, nothing we do changes the past. Everything we do changes the future. So with that said, congratulations to the Minnewaska class of 2021. We did it, baby!
At this time, to give our farewell, I would invite Monica Senzu to the stage.
Hello, my name is Annika Sensrud, and this year I am the senior class, as well as the last person aside from Mr. Rankin that you will be hearing from tonight. Don't worry, I'll try to keep it short and sweet as I know many of you are itching to be off to your next adventure. I want to start by thanking everyone in the stands for not only being here tonight to celebrate our graduation, but also for the role you have played in all of our lives. From driving us to and from school, practices, and friends' houses, to helping us try to figure out algebra, you have been there every step of the way, and this celebration is just as much about you as it is about us. I also want to thank the teachers and staff who never stop believing in us, and even in this really wild year have put aside all the crazy going on in their lives to make sure that their students were doing okay. Many of us wouldn't be here right now without all that you do that goes so much above and beyond your job description. Finally, to my fellow graduates. In classic senior slide fashion, I admittedly waited until yesterday to try to write in this speech. Whatever I decided on would be the last thing you would hear as a whole group, because after I'm done, that's it. We won't be students of Minnewaska area anymore, and for so long, that has been a huge part of many of our identities. Most of you know I love to play golf, and I used to let that define who I was. I loved it so much that I became Annika the golfer, and when I played poorly, I saw it as I wasn't good enough, and when I play well, I was somehow a better person because of it. Now, I'm not sure if you know this, but mothers tend to give really good advice. And my mom told me that in everything you do, the only thing that defines you is your character. People remember how you treated them. Many years from now, you may be flipping through your old yearbook and seeing the faces of former classmates, and I can just about guarantee you won't sit there reminiscing about who played what sport or won such and such a award. But you'll remember their character. You remember how they treated you and how they treated other people. Standing here today, looking at all of you as a whole for the last time, I couldn't ask for a better group to be graduating. In this last year, one more trying than any other, rather than give up and throw in the towel, I've been able to watch everyone band together and keep fighting through it. I want to thank you for a great chapter in my life, and I hope this has been a great one in your life as well. Finally, I would just like to end with a quote from Jimmy Dean, who you probably know is the sausage guy, but he actually gives some pretty great advice as well. I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination. The wind blew pretty hard in our faces this year, but here we are. There may have been many nights where you had so much homework to finish, you may have felt the wind would rip your sails, but here you are. And sometimes you may have felt like when the wind blows, we have the tools to adjust our sails and keep going through it. I hope that you can all leave knowing your identity to be one of joy, kindness, strength, and perseverance, because I have seen it in all of us, and I know you will all reach any destination you set your sights on. This place and the people here help form us into who we are, and as we walk out of here now as graduates of Minnewaska, we will continue to experience so many more things that will shape us and form us into even better people. But for right now, I would just like to say congratulations to the class of 2021. We rocked it.
As we wrap up tonight, I just want to thank our moms and dads, all the lovely gathered seniors. Let's give our moms and dads a round of applause. 18 years they got through tonight. And now that we're done with them, they're yours. Good to have them back. No, all kidding aside, keep safe this summer. Love every one of you. Stay safe tonight. Please rise and face your parents. We're going to toss our caps here. And 3, 2, 1. Congratulations.